So, welcome everyone to another episode of A Seat at the Dinner Table. Okay.
We are season two.
Okay, season two. Season uno, dos. So, we are back from vacation. We definitely thank everyone for tuning in. So, tonight for dinner, we are having salad work. So shout out to Salad Works on what you got there.
I have a Sophie salad. I think I cut you off before we introduced ourselves too. I'm sorry.
I'm Tamar.
I'm Kim.
Really?
So yeah, I have a Sophie salad from Salad Works.
Okay. And I do as well, but on the warm side, I got some what's this? Some rice, apples, all of this good stuff. Trying to eat to live and not live to eat.
Well, moving on.
So tonight we are having I'm honored and privileged. We are honored and privileged to have with us today. We are going to bring him in.
Yo,
Mr. Derrick Reed. Welcome, sir.
what's up? What's going on? So how you doing? Kim, how y'all doing?
Good. I try to do a little bit of like a crowd applause. We don't have a button to hit, so crowd applause. Woo!
That's cool. That's what's up. It's an honor. It's a pleasure.
So if you don't know, this is Derrick Reed. He is a serial entrepreneur, I would say, to where he has a multitude of entrepreneur experience in different areas. But I guess I should actually let him explain.
Yeah.
Yep. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh man. First of all, thanks for having me on the show. It's been a long time coming. We've been talking about this over the summer. You know what I mean? And then y'all was changing seasons and going to y'all new season. So congratulations on season 2. You know what I mean? Awesome thing to come back in your sophomore year. So that's pretty cool that you guys are doing it together is even cool too. So just shout out to you. I see that at the dinner table, you know what I mean? Because y'all are doing a good job, man. I've been checking y'all out. So that's cool.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
My management team, like, okay, they good, dude. They got a nice little show. They coming back season 2. Yeah, we gotta do it. You know what I mean? So yeah. But as you know, I'm Derrick D. Reed. Born and raised in Wilmington, Delaware. Riverside Projects. We'll probably get into that too. You know what I mean? I'm an entrepreneur and an author. You know what I mean? I'm a writer too as well. So I own a few companies, you know what I mean, that started out as small businesses that excuse me, branched down to like bigger businesses. But for the most part, you know what I mean, I just grew up in the Riverside Projects and I just felt like I just always wanted to win. You know what I mean? I always wanted to go further. I'm a husband, and I got 4 grown kids, ages 32, 29, 24, and 22.
Really?
So all my kids are grown. So yeah. Yeah, they all grown. So I really, people always say, my kids. It's kind of hard to say kids, you know what I mean? But they grown now,
But they don't always be your babies.
I try. I hear that all the time. I'm trying not to say that, but I understand. You know what I mean? I understand. So yeah, but just I'm growing up in Wilmington, Delaware. Trying to educate and inspire people that they can win, that they can live their best life. I hear a lot of people throwing it out there, living their best life, but are you really living your best life? You know what I mean? Or are you having the freedom and the peace of having a good quality of life? On the way you feel like, because everybody's different, right? Everybody don't want the same things. It seems that way, but everybody don't want the same. May not want the same things. How about that? Some people just like to be by the beach reading a book, and that's success to them, and that's kudos to them. But yeah, entrepreneur, book writer, and a couple other things. And I'm sure as we go on, I'll start to unravel this a little bit more. So
now I ran into you through the barbershop that you own.
Yes.
And me being a person knowing that, been going to the barbershop since I was a little boy. Mm-hmm. And that's something that's a staple in the Black culture. It's something like I would say a Black man's gentleman's club. Say not gentlemen's club in that sense. I've seen some things on Instagram that's a little crazy. But not that type of gentlemen's club, but something along the lines of a country club.
Yes. Yes.
And what exactly made you want to go into that business? What inspired you to turn that idea into a business?
That's actually a great question. Again, I grew up in Riverside Project, so of course we didn't have a lot of money and a lot of things to do and places to go. And me particularly, me and my brother, we pretty much shared the same bed till we was like 14. You know what I mean? And a lot of things that we got was hand me down or borrowed. And shout out to my mom who did the best that she can, the most beautiful woman I ever met, Elise Reed. So shout out to her. And we was one of those kids that couldn't afford haircuts and all that stuff and going to the barbershop. So we really didn't go to the barbershop. We go to neighborhood barbers, you know what I mean? And again, as my story go on, you will see the pattern of how I do things. And a lot of times I do things, I feel the void, meaning that if it's a need there, or if it's something there that we kind of get looked down on for as a culture, I try to fix that. You know what I mean? Oh, black people can't have nothing. They can't have a barbershop. Most of the guys in the barbershop, drug dealers. Well, I used to hear that when I was growing up, you know what I mean? But I wanted to change that. So I got cutting hair, number one, because kids couldn't afford haircuts, and I was one of them. So I started cutting the neighborhood kids until it got so packed and so busy. My mom was ready to say, yo, you got to get up out this house. It's the kids all in the house, you know what I mean? Up and down the steps all night, you know what I mean? So I end up later on getting into a more of a business ownership by, renting a chair at someone's shop. But for the most part, to answer the question, it's just the fact that we couldn't afford haircuts, and I knew the kids couldn't afford haircuts, and I knew drug dealing wasn't an option. I didn't want to be out there in the streets. Again, I didn't have many role models, but I had the role models on what not to do. And I used to see people get in trouble running through the hood and all that. Getting chased by the cops and getting locked up and go away for a while and come back, you know what I mean? So I didn't want to be part of that life. So that played a part too.
Yeah. When was the light clicked on as far as going from getting a chair to owning an actual shop?
Oh, you know what? So I cut at my mom's house for a while, then I cut at my sister's house, you know what I mean? Again, until I just bust out the seam to say, yo, I became real popular as a young barber. You're talking about 13, 14-year-old. And I'm talking about going to school. The teachers knew I was the barber. And I was nice. I was always nice. And they're like, oh, I went to Gun and Bedford one year. And they're like, oh, he's the Bedford barber. Or, but I was known. Like 13, 14, right. I was known. I never forget, it was a barber that I looked up to. So I'm probably about 14, 15 then. And we was playing basketball on the crates. I don't know if you remember, we was on the crates and playing ball on in the dirt. But I'm cutting hair. I got clientele. A barber pulled up that was working at a barber shop. Toby. I call him Toby the guy. So pulled up in a Cadillac. Said, yo, come here, man. Come here, man. And I knew who he was. I was like, oh, my God, Toby that can really cut hair. He's a little older than me. Get in the car, man. Get in the car. He's like, yo, you are really good. Like, I'm hearing about you. You're 14. Had a Rockwell in the backseat. I'm like, oh, hold on. He's like, oh, yeah, I'll be good. So, and I remember it vividly. So, and he was like, you was good, man. You really need to get into a barbershop, man. I was scared then. He said, man, you can make the kind of money we make right now. It's like $15 a haircut. I was like, $15 a haircut. I was charging $5. So I ended up went on trying for a barbershop, and I ended up getting a chair. So I ended up getting a chair in one of the barbershops. And the first day I ever worked in the barbershop was on a Saturday. And I made probably $380 that day. I was 18 years old. Like 18, 19. And I made $380 that day, and I was like, "This is it. This to answer your question. That's what made me go on and say, you know what? This is a business. This is real shit right here."
Right. I know that's right.
So that's what happened, and I say, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and I'll pursue this because this. And I love entertainment business. I love music. Probably touch on that too. And I've been dabbing in music business as well. But that barbering and cutting hair, I never stopped, and it always took care of me. Always took it. So I never had a job in my life. Never punched the clock. So. I don't know what that feels like.
See, that's the best thing about it because you was doing something that you love.
Yeah, I loved it. And I love what it was able to do for us in the community. Number one, being young and cutting these young kids that couldn't afford it. Because again, I was one of those kids that couldn't afford going to the barbershop. So we get the neighborhood barbers. Shout out to all the old school barbers, the Bubbles, the Qs, and all them. And I try to pay my respect to them because without them would be me cutting hair. But yeah, that right there was just fulfilling. Being able to cut people's hair and render a service and eventually open up my own shop.
Right.
Where people could feel safe. There's no cussing or whatever and none of that crazy music. We just kept it real clean and professional, even today, to this day. So yeah.
Now I appreciate you saying that. I haven't been in the shop because like I have my son's dad here, so he takes him to the barbershop. That's their thing. But my son, he's 6 now, and he feels so comfortable going there. At first, he was a little scared because it was a new experience for him.
Right,
But now, when you tell him he's going to the barbershop, he's excited about it. He's never had any type of problems or anything in there, and he loves his barber. So I appreciate that from a mom's perspective.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I thought about that, to be honest. I was very mindful of that because we live in an era where a lot of women started bringing their sons to the barbershop. Back in the day, mostly the men, the dads would bring them to the barbershop, which I always encourage because when you got a small child, he see dad get his haircut. It's not a problem when his turn to come get his haircut. Now, like, oh, this is what we do. Right. But mom bring him for that first time. He looking around, what is this place? Oh, and then he's on the spotlight and put in a chair. He can lose it. A kid can straight lose it. And they have many times. And that's the reason, because it's not used to, coming to the barbershop. But once they see that this is our culture, or passing down the legacy, you know what I mean, or doing some things between, father and son, I just think it's an awesome thing. And I never wanted to lose that for our community. I never wanted to, a couple of things we own, I guess, at the church, the barbershops and salons. I don't know, maybe a party. I don't know, First Fridays. I don't know, something, but I just didn't want us to lose that.
Yeah.
I just didn't want us to lose the barbershop. And I always wanted to preserve it and say, hey, respect this place. It's one of the few things that we do say we own and take pride in. So
exactly.
Now, one thing that you tapped in on is that the entertainment industry.
Yes.
What led you into that industry?
Well, it's funny. When I was younger, now in the beginning, my mom and dad actually was together, and then they got divorced, and we just kind of like did the reverse Jeffersons, moving on up. We didn't do that. We moved on down. We do the project, so we moved on down. My dad was more of a church guy. He was into church, and my older brothers and sisters, he taught them how to play instruments and be in instruments and being part of music. Me and my brother were actually singing, so we were singing and probably in church, and then after a while we started being in talent shows and performed a group, and we became like known as a group during the time I was cutting hair. So around 17, 18, I was performing like on Apollo and opening up for 112 at 19.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people didn't know. Yeah, we was opening up for groups and all that. I mean, all the groups, the Azjet, the Drew Hills and all that. I know all them cats. Like, I'll probably talk to Nokia today from Drew Hill. It's crazy. But yeah, it's great today. Something about some music, but we had the same producers. I know y'all probably heard of a music producer, Scott Storch. You know Scott Storch? Well, I used to sit on the piano with Scott Storch right here, and I'm right here. And Scott was like, this is how you gotta write a song there. You gotta, and I'm 19. And he's got to go smoke his weed and come back, and we sitting there. I got songs that I wrote with Scott. So I'm 19 years old doing this, and cut hair. My manager was Kenny, who's on here now. Shout out to Kenny, who's my manager. He was actually our producer and one of our keyboard players.
Wow.
And we did shows together. We've been on Apollo, Teen Summit.
Wow. Oh, that's a throwback.
Yeah,
that's a throwback.
Yeah, we was on them shows. So yeah.
Wow.
Belma Johnson was on there, I think, when we was on there. And right before we went on there, Escape was on there. So Escape actually made it off of Teen Summit.
That is so dope.
Yeah. We came in a year after them. So yeah. So
yeah, young OG out here. Not even a young OG. Well, I'll keep you young. I'll say you're a young OG.
I'm gonna die this. Don't worry about DT. I'm dying this. This is great girl.
Ain't that wrong with it?
Yeah.
Now I know one other thing that you're doing for the community as well is you started to dabble into construction.
Yes.
And revitalizing homes.
Yes.
Why did you choose that area?
It's a great question. Another great question. My dad was actually a general contractor.
Okay.
So, and my dad actually passed away about 5-6 years ago. And he was always a good guy. Don't get me wrong, always a good guy. My mom didn't work out. And as we got older, he went in separate ways, got married again. You know how they go and all that. But me and my dad was always tight, and he was tight with his boys. You know what I mean? So, I still saw my dad as I got older, and the older we got, the tighter we got. And he actually had congestive heart failure about 5 or 6 years ago. He passed. But he was a general contractor. Yeah, Sam Reed. So and it's crazy. My older brother is Sam Reed Jr. He looks exactly like my dad. And he knows me and my dad's tight. Me and Sam tight. And it's like my dad left him for me because he looked just like my dad. It's crazy. So my dad was a general contractor. And not only that, my twin brother, I don't know if y'all know this, but I have a twin brother. Frederick Reed, who's actually into music, still singing, and he owns a daycare center, 2 of them, as a matter of fact. He did that. He did that in construction for a while, just a little bit, and then I started getting into it again. Again, you'll start seeing the pattern. I don't know if you noticed, but a lot of African American construction companies, we get a bad name. You know what I mean? I'm not afraid to say this. It's what it is, because sometimes you have to say what it is so we can fix it, right?
Right.
All the time. And even when I first started, now I've been doing construction for about 4.5, 5 years now. But I remember I used to go to estimates and people's house, and they'd be like, Derrick, let me tell you something. I was great. Give up on us, man. Let me tell you something. I was gonna get my money. I done heard so many horror stories, and they broke my heart. So I opened up a company called Trust. Why? Because when you hear me, I want you to know from the gate you can trust me. I'm here to take your money. I'm not here to take advantage of you. Your project becomes my project, and I want to make sure that it gets done. People call me all the time from disaster stories. You know, even today, little disaster stories. But I go there and I say, listen, your project's my project. Let's go ahead and make it out. Let's make it happen. So I developed Trust because I wanted to fill that void again for us as a culture being looked down on. For barbershop, I don't want us being looked down on that. Construction, I don't want us to be looked down on that. So I wanted to make sure I create a business that people can look up to and say, hey, that's Black owned.
Understood.
Yeah.
Understood. I have a passion for real estate, so awesome. That is something as far as revitalizing the neighborhoods. I think that the one word that gets a negative connotation is gentrification. And if you like generalize it, if you are able to be the ones that are gentrifying your neighborhood, it wouldn't seem as though it's somebody trying to move people out, but more so of just raising the equity in the neighborhood.
Yes.
That benefit all of the neighborhood within surrounding distance. So,
right.
So I mean that's huge, man.
So even with that, I'm glad you said that. I'm so glad. I've done a lot of cool things in my life, whether it's music, barbering, or writing books, or writing stage plays, all that stuff. But one of the coolest things I ever done was being able to go back to my old neighborhood at Riverside. It's blowing my mind. Even today, it's even emotional when we talk about it. We're going to have a ribbon cutting next week. The new name for the project, Riverside Project, is called Amani Village. So they're going to have a ribbon cutting. I think it's next week, the 15th or the 16th. It's next Tuesday, wherever the next Tuesday is. But it is next week, a ribbon cutting. And to be able to go back to my hood, knowing that those projects right there, I used to live right there, and we building up the new buildings. You know what I mean? Like you said, gentrification is not always a bad thing. It get that stigma, right? But sometimes you're going to have to tear it down to build up. You know what I mean? It's just like anything else. Sometimes you got to go through the fire, become gold. You know what I mean? Diamonds have to be crushed to become diamonds. And sometimes it's a lot of breaking down that has to take place before you start really building some stuff up. I think a lot of times we get caught up in emotional attachment to certain things when, I'm gonna be honest, that whole thing got to burn down. That whole thing, not saying to burn down, but it just had to be destroyed. Whatever that is, not just the projects, but just the mindset. You know what I mean? It has to be destroyed. We got these new cultures out here, and it's a lot going on in our neighborhoods that we're just not proud of. You know what I mean? It's just a lot of stuff that's hurtful. You know what I mean? But it's becoming a culture, and that's dangerous, very dangerous, because you can't really change a culture. But you have to build something else up. But going back to Riverside is amazing to me. Amazing.
I bet it is. I bet it is.
Now, with everything that you lived the life, brother. Now, in the beginning of that, what were the challenges that you had to overcome at the beginning of your journey to get to where you're at now?
I think it was a couple boundaries. It was a couple of things that really was challenging to me. Number one, figuring out exactly what I wanted to do. A lot of people don't know exactly what they want to do in life, and a good way. And I don't like to say stuff. I like to give solutions and answers and stuff like that. And a good way to try to figure it out is that you do got to try some things. You know what I mean? It's almost like you got to throw stuff at the wall and just find out whatever stick. You know what I mean? And everything is just not about an emotional attachment. You know what I mean? Some things is about doing something that just great. You know what I mean? But one of the things was figuring out what I wanted to do. That's number one. Number two, I think I had, and I still battle with this still today as a grown person, being concerned about what people think sometimes. And I know I can come off as in, he don't give a damn what nobody thinks. No, that's not really true. That's not true. It makes
Deep down, you still feel it, right?
yeah, you still feel some stuff, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? I want to know in a sense. But even that, you still got to shake it off because at the end of the day, you got to be you, you know. And those are the two things that really held me back is figuring out what I want to do and being concerned about what other people think. If you can figure out what you want to do and not worry about or give a damn what people think, oh man, sky's the limit. And that's what happened. I started breaking out of those things. When I started breaking out of things, I wrote my book called Mindset Go, shameless plug. Mindset Go, which is was kind of like instead of saying ready, set, go, it's called Mindset Go because I believe everything starts with your mind, you know. So mindset, get on Amazon. In the writing that book, it actually changed me. And in that book, I talk about a lot of my personal battles and stuff that I dealt with growing up as a kid. And it did kind of like narrow down to being concerned about what people think. So now I practice daily, not worrying about that. You know what I mean? Because we're individuals. Everybody's different. You know what I mean? One thing about me, I do respect people's opinions and decisions and stuff like that, even if I don't agree. And I just want people to kind of look at me the same way. But it doesn't happen that way. I could make a mistake right now, and that should be all over Facebook.
Everything.
And if you do know that his blood is red and he is human too. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But you know, as the older I get, the closer I get to 50, I'm almost getting to I don't give a damn. I'm cool. I done learned some stuff. You know, I done learned a lot of stuff. And one thing I did learn is that you are the architect over your life. You are the one that can actually call the shots, make a decision wherever you at in life, because at the end of the day, it's because of the decisions that you made, good, bad, and the ugly. You know what I mean? So that's just maturity, you know.
Yeah. In my opinion, you hit it on the head as far as the mindset.
Yes.
I mean, in life, we're going to have trials and tribulations. And how are you going to get through them? Are they going to be able to break you down? Are you going to build from it? Is it going to give you fuel? And I mean, once you get past those obstacles and those barriers, man, sky's the limit. So I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, and that's a great question. That's the two things that really were my barriers. Was those two things, you know, find out what I want to do, and you know, just worrying about being concerned about how people feel, what they say, and how they think, and time out for that. We don't have to worry about that. You know, you gotta live your life.
Now, knowing what you know now, what would you have done differently, and what would you keep the same as far as your journey is concerned?
Out of all the questions you asked so far and all on the list, this is the one that I'm like almost not cringing, but more so like, wow, Kenny, because you know you want to keep it 100, right? But nobody can keep 100. You can't keep 100. Maybe 98. You know what I mean? Let me say it like this. If anything I can change and go back, I would solely work on getting to know me and who I am. In life, I believe in your 20s, you make a lot of mistakes. And in your 30s, you actually fix the stuff you did in your 20s as much as you can. And then as you grow older, you start mature. You know what I mean? Because now you get to 40, like, hey, there ain't a mistake. You get your shit together. Because you get a pass in your 20s. You know what I mean? You get a pass. But as you get older, you know what I mean, things will change. So I think I would have spent my 20s getting to know me more. Individually, I got married actually at 23. We just celebrate 25 years of marriage. So
wow, congratulations.
And we got 4 kids together. So our 3 girls and the boy that I named and I talked about earlier, they all grown out the house, got kids, they gave me grandkids. But I think I feel that if I went back, I would get to know myself and be free just a little bit longer. You know what I mean? That's the nicest way I'm gonna put it. You know what I mean? But for the most part, yeah, because I don't advise that. I don't advise you bringing someone else into your world if your world's not together. You know what I mean? I think life give you time to get your world together, and then everybody get their world together. And then when you get to that moment, we bring these 2 worlds together, and we focus on our one world together. You know what I mean? But what happens is people get together, and their world is not together. And here we probably working on our world, but you're still trying to fix it from your world. But you know, and that causes a clash. So I think me personally, I would just get to know me more. You know what I mean? And grow in me more and know what I want, what I like. Because as you get older, you change. You know what I mean? Stuff you like, you don't like now. Stuff you didn't like, now you like. You know what I mean? So things change. We evolve. And and so now I'm different. I'm at 40, I'm 49, so I'm different from 29. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, just getting to know myself more. My advice to people: get to know you. You know, live a little bit. Just go have some experience, see life. You know what I mean? Those type of things. So, you know, but we
It would
made
be so dope. It would be so dope though if the kids that are watching and listening and just taking on our advice as older people and couples and things, if they would actually listen to it though. Because it's going to be so hard for that 18 to 23, 24-year-old to hear someone saying, you love this person, yeah, but take some time to get to know yourself. They were like, no, I know myself. I know what I want.
Yeah.
At that age, they know it all.
Yeah.
And you know what? You know, it's funny when you got kids, especially in this era with these kids, they know everything. And it's like, and I started business young, so I can't even say, well, that's just how I was. No, I was focused on business. I was young. I was focused on my future. I was trying to make stuff happen, rather to be on tour, rather to be. I just, I cared about my life. You know, I mean, again, getting married young is not a bad thing, but but it was a good thing because it kept me stable in a sense. You know what I mean? It kept me off the streets. You know what I mean? So I'm not, and again, I'm not advising that to anybody to do that young, but what I'm saying is at least have a goal and focus about your life, a job, a career, because these are really the best time of their life. 18, 19, 20. We all would probably go back and say, okay. You know what I mean? Let's go, let's get this time back. You know what I mean? That's one thing to keep you back. So.
I know I've had I got 3 younger brothers, and one of them I had this discussion with and was telling them, like, listen, man, like, you're at a great age to where, I mean, you don't really have too many responsibilities. So if you were to focus on yourself and get yourself together, I mean, that's all you have to worry about. Like this, I mean, what you say?
I said, it's yourself.
Yeah. And I mean, just knowing that you can learn those lessons a lot earlier, you know what I mean? That like you said, in your 30s, you're trying to fix. If you get time to yourself in that 20s age or whatever, you can skip a lot of things to where in your 30s you're flourishing, and you might, the 30s the new 40 or 40. You know what I mean? Like, a different mindset.
I'm enjoying the once I hit 40, I'm enjoying I'm good. You know what I mean? And all I want to do is pave the way and teach, just like you guys. I want to pave the way and make it a little bit easier for them. You know what I mean? Because nobody made it easy for us.
Right.
Nobody, nobody made it. So it's like, you're gonna have some kids that hopefully listen later on, they catch it, connect. Then you're gonna have something like, oh man, we're gonna see what happens. So yeah, I get it. I totally get it. But I just wish they again can hear this conversation. If I'm saying this to people publicly, I'm saying it to my own kids. You know what I mean? Right. But sometimes, sometimes it takes them to hear it from someone else.
It does. Yep. It definitely does. And with our kids, I swear we can tell them something, and a stranger can walk up and tell them the exact same words, and it's golden coming from a stranger. Oh, we don't do that.
They be like, "Mom, you hear what they said?" Yeah, that's what I've been telling you the whole time.
Right.
You know what? Never mind. Yeah.
So both of us are entrepreneurs, and we're both parents as well as yourself. So how has what advice would you give someone who's trying to become an entrepreneur, who's a parental figure? In your case, you're a dadpreneur. They got the mompreneur, so I'm switch it up.
Mompreneur, dadpreneur. I love that, and congratulations to both of y'all on that, man. Because I know that's not easy.
It's not for the faint of heart.
Yeah, you gotta be strong. You gotta be tough. It's tough skin. So and it's different. It's different. You guys know, being entrepreneurs, it's a different responsibility. People don't know, man. You gotta smile when you don't want to smile. You just gotta, it's just not. It's not easy. One advice I give to anybody that's trying to be an entrepreneur is, number one, educate yourself on what you feel that you want to be involved in. Education is something, y'all, I wish I just go back and have more of. I wish I did better in school and learned more, because now it's like, it's all about what you know. You know what I mean? Those type of things. You want to know some stuff and all this technology stuff, all that. So, but at the same time that you're learning, go ahead and take a step out there into that business. You know what I mean? If you don't have your business plan, some people say, well, go ahead, you go to seminar, they be like, get your business plan together and all that. And that's cool, but start it. But you want to start that business as soon as you can. That's how I feel. Start that business as soon as you can. You'll learn how to do the business plan along the way. You know what I mean? Start writing and whatever you got to do. But education and starting, that's one of my biggest advice I give to people. Get educated on what you're doing and how to do it and learn all you can. But at the same time, get it started.
Right.
You got to start. I didn't know a lot about construction. I just heard about certain things and I started doing my little homework, researching online and stuff like that. But guess what? I started that business, even if it was just me subcontracting other companies to come in and do this project, until I developed my own team. Now I have a trust team and I still do subs, but I also have my own team too. But I didn't just learn it overnight. I just took my step out there and walked on out in it. You know what I mean? And I kept educating myself on the side. So yeah.
My grandma used to always say, nothing beats a failure but a try. She was like, regardless of what it is, do it. If you fail, you learn from it. Go and keep going.
Right. You got to try. One of my sayings even in the book or even in my shop, it said, most people say when things get right, I'm gonna make a move. But the reality is things get right when you make a move. You got to make the move first. Everybody sit back. I don't care what you're doing in life. Never sit back and wait for the right time. Because if you do that, you'll never move. As soon as the right time comes, I was here. I would have moved for it. But you always got to make the move first for things to get right. Things don't get right until you move. And you just sit there and wait for, I'll just wait till I get this and wait for I had this business plan. I got to wait till I finish this in school. I got to wait. Keep on waiting. And time is going to keep passing you by when you could have been flourishing in that business. So
100% agree.
I really think you're a perfect example of to where you learned the business and then went about it. Like you said, as far as the construction piece, you didn't know too much, but you looked into it and then you went into it, and here you are 5 years later. And I think that a lot of entrepreneurs or people who want to be entrepreneurs get to a point to where they have what's they call analysis paralysis.
Yes.
Where they feel is like they're researching, they're reading all the books and everything, but they don't actually make that move. And I mean, in a sense, once you make that move, you're gonna learn certain things that books can't teach you. You're going to learn some things that a classroom's not going to be able to teach you as well. A lot of things you have to learn by experience. And I think that when you do that, I mean, I think there's a stat to where it's like the majority of the billionaires in the world don't have college degrees. So it's not all about the knowledge as far as the school is concerned that's accumulated. It's more so about the knowledge that you gain when actually doing the work or actually attempting to do the work.
Yes. And that's excellent. That is an excellent way. I studied people who had the experience. You know what I mean? I remember, of course, reading. I was just telling some young kids, I just spoke at a school last week, I believe, and I was telling young kids, you're going to have to read. You're going to have to read. And what I was reading were guys that wrote books from their experience. You know what I mean? Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, of course, one of the books I'm sure you heard of. And they gave an analogy of Henry Ford, I believe, about the motors. And they tried to corner him because he wasn't educated. They tried to corner him, I think, and said, well, can you answer this question? He said, no, I can, but I can push any of these buttons and have a person come in here and answer that question for you. Right. You know? So I was like, but everybody he was pushing the button to bring in was college educated. But he was the mastermind, creating General Motors. You know what I mean? He was the mastermind of the motor, and like he had the experience, So like just piggyback on what you said, yeah, it's better to have the experience, and that was me. I got to be all in. I have to find out about it and just be all in, One thing about me, I like owning businesses because I like things ran right. I think that's my attachment to business, is being able to know that, if I get it, it's going to run. We're going to want to do it the right way or have it run right, pretty much. So yeah,
it just popped in my head. I'm a big Bible believer, and awesome. I know it's a scripture in Proverbs. Don't know what it is, but I know it has to do with knowledge and understanding and wisdom.
Yes,
and putting those together. The knowledge is the research. The understanding is putting the application. No, not the application, but getting a feel for what business or whatever your endeavor you're going into. And then the wisdom is the application of both the knowledge and the understanding. It's a biblical thing, in my opinion. A lot of people may not, whatever, but that book has a lot of truths in it.
I totally agree.
That is one that you can put it in motion, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you want to work a 9 to 5, whether you're 95. Yep, I said 95. You can
You're
be out
working
9
95.
to 5.
Don't tell me y'all like that. Look, me and my wife do the same thing. Look, I make a mistake. She gonna run. Did you just say that?
Yeah.
Oh, we go through that so much. Matter of fact, I can tell you how bad we are. We jotted it down. We jotted down all the. We got something in our memo to say all the words key messed up. She got something on the word. And when we get around friends at dinner table, oh Lord, it's on.
Mm.
I don't
Like
nah,
that.
I don't like that.
Do y'all do that? So y'all don't write down the mistakes.
It's off the.
I'm gonna turn y'all on to that. So jot it down when someone make a
No,
mistake.
man, don't turn us on to that. Nah, not because I messed up a lot of
He don't want
things.
to most of the mess it up, and I catch him every time.
Like I know what
my
I'm talking about. She knows what I'm talking about, but it comes out.
So I can't help it.
Yeah.
I love you.
Yep.
Oh my God. Yeah, we bad with that. We bad.
Funny.
So with all these endeavors that you have going on, what exactly do you want to achieve next?
I think the end goal is to it's not about money for me. Of course, money is good, and some Bible scriptures for that too. Ecclesiastes, money answers all things. So. But money is cool. But I think with me, I'm after just a better quality of life and the freedom to do pretty much what I want to do. I'm actually going to retire from barbering. You know, I mean, in 2023. So probably the first time I announced it on the air. You know what I mean? So next year I will be retiring from actually being behind the barber chair. But I want to write more. I like I like writing books. I like writing plays. Entertainment is good for me. I like making people laugh and stuff like that. Again, I like to be that sunshine to make people smile, make people laugh. So with me, better quality life, freedom to be able to live my life and just kind of like be a light and inspiration to people and let them know that you can have the life that you want to have if you just take the chance. You know what I mean? You know, of course, put God first. You know,
It was good.
Oh,
What do you think was good? No, because a lot of people they'll get to a point of like their height and they want to just keep going because it is money driven. But he's saying he's ready to put some things to the side and enjoy life.
Yeah.
Life is for sure to not enjoy it.
Yeah, I just had a friend who's retired and he's 67, 68, maybe something like that. And I'm getting a couple of them now. My older clients are retiring. And I'm like, yeah, they went on little trips and stuff like that, but they were looking forward to, okay, when I retire, what are you going to do now? Like, you know, you're 60 something. I never wanted to be that, y'all. I want to be this young dude that's retired and I'm over in Jamaica, check that ball out. We're going to go play ball. You know what I mean? Right now. You know, I'm like that right now. Me and my brother both like that. I still want to live my life, be as young as possible. Life is short, so you want to live it to the fullest. I just didn't want to fall in that scam of working 30, 40 years. And there you go, 10 years.
Right.
15 years, do you? People will say, damn, you always on vacation. Yep, that's my plan. So
that's right.
I'm always out. So even much as I run 3 companies, but I do take time out to travel and enjoy myself. You follow me on Facebook, you'll see I'm turned up.
Like I've heard the phrase "time is money," but I don't think time is money. Time is something that you can never get back versus money, and you have to, and especially in this America, you have to figure out a way to be able to buy your time back.
Yes.
And I mean, whatever it is, as far as whether it's in investing, whether it is moving up the corporate ladder to where you can figure out a way that you have more vacation time. But in this world, in this society, I personally feel like being an entrepreneur, for one, it motivates you to push yourself. And for two, you're trying to, or having that goal to buy back your time. And I mean, like you said, you have 65, 70-year-old guys coming in and they're ready to retire. You're trying to retire now. You're trying to buy that time. So it's like the latter end of my life is greater than the first.
Yes.
And I mean, you don't want to have it to where you're 65, 70 years old. Granted, I bless everyone that takes that path. However, once you're 70, I mean, it's kind of like, okay, where we, like you said, where are we going from here?
Yeah.
And you waiting on the pension and the Social Security check or whatnot, which is
They tell you when
You
you
never
go
know
on
what's
vacation and all that stuff. So you only go on vacation around the same time every year. So you know, I
Right.
want to go somewhere else in the winter. I want to go in the fall. I might leave to Miami this weekend. I'm that dude. You know what I mean? I'm out. You know. So you know, and my wife, she just started a new business. So what do we just opened up a gym for her. So she's opened up her own gym, Mean Body Fitness.
Okay.
And I know she just can't really leave just like that, but she know how I rock and roll. We out. You know what I mean? And hearing what you said in that mindset from a lot of people, that gives me the courage to say, no, not me. I don't know, not me. I'm waiting till about 60. No, I can't. I don't want it. I don't want to do that.
Y'all remind me of this story I had seen. I think I seen it on TikTok. This guy had worked for Burger King for 27 years.
Yeah.
Oh, that hurt my heart.
He was pulling the stuff out the bag, and he had, I think the most thing he got excited about, pins and lanyards. Like, what?
That's a hurtful thing. Wasn't that hurtful?
I wanted to cry for him. I'm like, they're celebrating him for not missing a day of 27 years, and you give him a grab bag? Did y'all give that
it wasn't even Gucci.
If you think about it, you take your kids to like a basketball camp or something. That's the type of stuff that they put in a bag. I'm gonna give you a T-shirt, a lanyard, and a pin.
Yeah. That's hurtful. Even as an owner, that's all I'll be upset about that. If I owned the McDonald's or Burger, whatever, I would be upset about that. Like,
yes,
27 years.
Terrible, man. It broke my heart, but sadly, that's a lot of people. There's a lady at my job. She celebrated being with the company for 50 years. A bouquet of flowers. And don't get me wrong, it's not about like the monetary gifts or anything like that, but it's the appreciation of it. And like 50 years with the same company, just different departments, but the same company, and you give me a bouquet of flowers, and that didn't even come from higher ups. That just came from the team doing something.
Whew. Yeah. See, I can't be a part of that program. I never wanted to be a part of that. I like to come in. Another thing is I'm looking forward to come and go as I please. That's another thing. I like to come and go as I please, y'all. The older I get, my kids are raised. I got grandkids. I open businesses. My wife living the dream. So you know, just let me do me.
Right.
Leave me alone. I don't owe nobody nothing. You know.
Now, through the thread of everything, you probably already answered this, but what is your why as far as what you do?
You know what? I'm gonna be honest, and it was my kids. My kids were my why. Still is my why to this day. Now it's like my grandkids. Now, you know, I got 3 boys, grandkids. But my kids, man, I wanted to put an example out there that you can be and do what the hell you want to do. Whatever you want to do, you can do it. You got to make up in your mind of what you want to do, and you can make it happen. You are the own architect. You're your own artist. Draw this picture. Draw this picture of life the way you. And you don't know that until you get older. You realize, like, you know what? I can run this thing the way I want to. But that's what it was. I wanted to make sure that if I brought them into this world, that I took care of them and also leave them with something. You know, it don't have to be money all the time, but just a legacy or just the knowledge of entrepreneurship. You know, my daughter owns a business. You know, she works in the shop, but she owns a company too. Right. And then my other kids, they involved one of them in college, and you know, I have 1 or 2 trying to get together too. So you know, but they are my why. Those are my whys. You know, was my kids. You know, I can't think of anything else other than them. Just reason why I do what I do. Yeah,
that's huge. I know one of the reasons why we started businesses is not for the monetary, but just to show, for one, to leave something to our kids, and hopefully it passes on to our kids, but pretty much to give them a better starting point than we had. And pretty much have it to where of course we want to be as successful with the monetary, but just understanding that family is first. And one of the reasons why we did this is so that it can be more family oriented and more family time, to where, it takes away at times as far as from the family, but it gives it to where in the long run, it'll work out. That you got, okay. Right.
But it also gives them an example too, because a lot of times you can't. It's easier for people to learn by example and by like the actual hands-on experience than just hearing about it. So what we do is also they see everything that we do. Our kids are involved within our businesses in some sort of way. on what we do, so they get hands-on experience with that as well.
You know, it's funny when I grew up, and you're 100% right. And when I grew up, my mom would say, "Don't do as I do as I say do." We grew up under that umbrella, right? But they was completely wrong because kids learn by just what you said, by what you guys do. You know, that's the way we learn. You know, what I mean, I was raised up like that. Well, we learn by what you do. So, so again, and I always knew that growing up. So again, I watch what I've done accordingly for being a businessman, and owning some stuff that hopefully my kids see that and be like, you know what, he has the freedom. He's enjoying his life. I'm gonna be honest, y'all. I am enjoying my life. I am enjoying my life. So
as you should. As you should.
Yeah.
Because it ain't fun just getting up, going to work every day, come home, reset, do it all over again. That ain't fun.
Yeah. And you know what? So at the barbershop, I'm there two times a week, maybe. Yeah, 2 times now. So I'm on Thursday and Friday. Saturday, I might go on for half a day. And I still gotta get up 5:30, y'all, to be there because I'm loyal to is another thing toward the fault. So I have clients that was coming at 7 a.m. and where I live at, it takes me 45 minutes to get in town. I'm still there 7 a.m. right? And I'm riding in town now, y'all, and it's starting to feel like, why am I doing this? And that's the only thing right now I don't know. I had no idea why. I don't have to do it. I'm loyal to my clients. They've been probably doing it for 20 years. And I know it has to come to an end, but I'm still doing that on Thursday and Friday, and it's starting to really bother me a little bit. So like, you can't be that loyal, but I'm there, you know. So, you know.
But your clients appreciate it.
Definitely.
Yeah, a little bit. They still want to play the same price. They gotta show me how they appreciate it. I gotta see it in their actions. I can't hear them. They gotta show me in their actions. So yeah, but I love all my clients, and without them, I couldn't be that barber, that D-Reed guy, you know what I mean? But yeah, all good things come to an end, and my time is winding down. So, you know, it's cool though.
At least you get to leave on your terms.
Yeah. And I'm having a big bash. So me and my brother, we're twins. We having the 50th fade out, the 50 fade out. We both gonna turn 50. We both gonna retire. So
that's right.
That's our plan.
Right.
Now, I know me myself in we're gonna say my mid 30s. We on the later end of the mid. We same age.
Yes, I know.
Anyway,
You're so young. You're so young.
Yeah, I try to tell her that.
Tell my niece that.
Yeah, I know.
Gosh, you're so young.
But we like to soak up the wisdom to be able to retire at 50 as well. So if you can give us a little bit of game as to what books that you're reading, you can name 3 books that you're reading that were game changers. Or have read. I'm sorry.
Okay.
You missed that part.
Okay, so I got a couple books. Now, how many books? 3, 4? What you want? It don't matter.
I mean, as many as you want. We try to do 3, but listen, I take all.
Listen, I'm taking notes.
Okay, so number 1, we got to start with the foundation. We got to read Think and Grow Rich. Think and Grow Rich is definitely one of the best books that I have read. That's just a really, really good book. Number 2, I like The Power of Now. Do you like The Power of Now? Eckhart Tolle.
Not Power of Now, no.
The Power of Now.
Okay.
Eckhart Tolle. Really good book. Really good book. And just to give you a little segue of what he's talking about, he actually thought he was going crazy at one time. This guy wrote this book, thought he was going crazy. And then Eckhart Tolle is a real spiritual type of guy. And he wanted to commit suicide. And he said he felt like he just couldn't live with himself. But that very statement changed his life because he said, if I can't live with myself, then who am I? And I was like, wow. So it made me read the book. So I started reading the book. So that's a good book. Power Now. Definitely read that. So we got Think and Grow Rich and Power Now. Those 2. Another one, Mindset Go by D-Reed. So you might want to get that one too. That book helped change my life. And for all the people seeing me living the best I can, limitless, and that's my name on Instagram, limitless_Reed, is because of that book. Mindset Go opened my understanding. And you got people that think inside the box, then you got people that think outside the box. But then you got people like me, there is no box. You know what I mean? So, and when you're on that type of enlightenment and that freedom, that's a whole nother level. You know what I mean? So Mindset Go. And it's an oldie but goodie, the 48 Laws of Power.
Okay.
I think I've heard that.
48 Laws of Power is one of my favorite books, and it's an oldie but goodie. But I like that book. I can keep going with books, but those ones that I read. And for all the listeners out there, yes, I read, and you have to read.
Yeah.
There's no way around it. You have to read. Read, audiobook, whatever it is. There is some really good books out there that help you along the way out here, man. I'm trying to think, was there any other one that I have? I mean, for like pleasure books or stuff like that. I mean, you got I like Michelle Obama's book. How about that? She had a book. I don't know if you ever read her book.
I got through it. I think I'm probably like halfway through.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I started happening and my reading fell off. So I just recently fell in love with audiobooks, and it's been taking me right back to where I used to be with reading. I used to be able to sit down and read a whole book in a day.
Really?
Yes. I love reading that much.
See, I can't do that because when you pass 40, you fall asleep like on the credits or the movie, starring Denzel. So
wake up saying, what happened?
Yeah. I can read it on the plane or once I get where I'm going, you know what I mean? But those are some books. I hope is that enough? That's good. So that's good.
That's good.
Good. So those are like my favorite books right there. Those 4 or 5 books right there. But it will change you. Financial books, the 10X Rule by my man Gordon. Yeah. Grant Cardone. That's a good one. 10X Rule. I like 10X Rule. It's pretty cool. So, and I read these books. So, yeah, I'm not just telling y'all. I know these books. So, yeah.
Shout out to that company that starts with an A that does books on audio.
Oh my God.
They can just cut us a check. You can mention the name.
I know. Right. Shout out to that book, audio book. And the mindset goes on audio. Hey, yo, mindset goes on audio, and I'm reading it. So make sure my book's on audio too. So
hey, listen, send us the link so that way we can post it, please.
Sound good. Kenny, make sure that.
Anyway, yep. But we do thank you for spending this lovely Wednesday evening with us. As a famous philosopher, Sean Jay-Z Carter would say, you could have been anywhere in the world, but you was here with us. So
that's right. That's right.
Yeah. That's awesome. Is there anything else you want to add, plug, anything?
I just want to say Riverside ribbon cutting for Amani Village is next week, the 15th. I think the 16th. I'm sorry, Kenny.
Put up there. 16th. Yeah.
So it's the 16th. So other than that, look for some new stuff coming out by me. I'm doing another addition to Mindset Go where I'm adding on to that. I got a new play that's going to drop soon. I wouldn't get into that. I write plays. So I had a hit play, Watermelon Cornbread. So people waiting for Watermelon Cornbread 2. So that's another comedy play that's going to be dropping. You go on YouTube, you can see some clips on there. It's a comedy play. It's called The Blessing in the Recession was the first one. This one's called Praising Out the Pandemic. So this is going to be really good. Watermelon Cornbread. Other than that, man, just enjoy your life, man. I'm just trying to be inspiring to people and create a new culture. You know what I mean? Because this out here, this new, I don't know what's going on. The killing and twerking is driving me crazy. I'm sorry. I just can't. I don't know what's going on. You know what I mean?
Right there with you.
Yeah, I don't know. We got to do another version of the show and a night version, an adult version. But listen, we can go. But I will say I'm tired of that, and we are better people. One thing about Black people, we are beautiful people, and the world needs to see it. We're talented, we're gifted. All that crap you see on these socials, that's not us. That's not who we are. So
exactly.
Yeah.
So we do thank you.
Appreciate it.
We have our lovely kids.
Our 6-year-old is hollering, "Are you finished?"
Oh my God. Well, I got my painter at my house upstairs, like, yo, I'm about to be wrapping up. Well, wrap up. I'm on a podcast. So I understand.
I wish I could tell them to wrap up.
I know, right?
Wrap something. But we do thank you. We thank everybody for tuning in.
Yeah. It was definitely a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure. I think you guys were the best interviews I had thus far. Awesome.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Follow us on the Seat at the Dinner Table. Follow each and every one. I said each and every one. Follow my wife, Simply Shondell, where she has her. You gonna say what you got?
No.
Oh, I gotta say it. Handmade polymer clay earrings, as she sports them today. You want to turn the model? No? Okay. There she go. And Real Estate 10-1 for any and all of your real estate needs in the state of Delaware. You can reach out to me and together.
Just like tune in 2 weeks. We'll be back with another show, another episode.
Thank you guys for tuning in.
Yes, thank
You
you.
guys
Have a good night.